Hello and welcome to Sheer Fucking Hubris, a podcast started by three buddies, three Star Trek fans, who watch episodes of Star Trek each week and then talk about them on this podcast. I am Joe Bob. Joining me is Mr. Willie
Hello.
and also Biblio Warden.
Hello.
How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm doing well.
Well, Warden,
And you?
Best.
I'm here. I'm great. It's another week of Star Trek stuff.
Star Trek stuff.
A week and
Bonus-
a half. A week and a half, technically.
Yeah, bonus Strange New Worlds episode. Oh, we are barreling right along. We have hit the halfway point of the season for Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Picard.
Mm-hmm.
Oui.
Yes.
So
How
do
we
you
feeling
now
well
about
said.
them?
do you now understand why Ward and I were so confused when you started recapping charades? And we're like, this isn't the tone that we remember.
Well, you see, I went to watch Strange New Worlds episode 4, and then I got kind of a migraine, and then I kind of forgot what I was doing and lost track of time, and so I just started an episode. And I guess I had forgotten what I was supposed to watch. I was just doing a bit, y'all, to go along with this episode.
Sure.
Well, I guess it may be time to come clean. I fell asleep during like the last 5 minutes of one episode of Discovery and woke up in the next episode that it autoplayed and I didn't realize it. And I was watching it, and so I wound up being like, there was one episode that I had a bunch of spoilers for the next episode, and I had to play it close to my chest. So we all make mistakes.
I think I got one spoiler in Picard from a thumbnail that looks dumb.
I don't think I got that one.
Anywho,
Dumb with a capital B.
dumb with a capital B. So anyway, we watched. We're supposed to only do one episode of Strange New Worlds and Picard each. But we're doing two Strange New Worlds this week because we didn't get to talk about it last week because Warden and Willie both somehow managed to watch the wrong one.
Right. Sure.
I should have just let y'all explain that one last week and just watched it later. Because, ironically enough, it's a pretty forgettable episode, in my opinion. So we watched those three episodes being Among the Lotus Eaters and Charades from Strange New Worlds and Imposters?
Yes.
Yes.
Imposters from Star Trek Picard. Plus picked up the old TNG episode Conundrum. Season
Yes.
something, episode something.
We did.
Is that a season?
Season
5
5,
episode?
episode 14.
Yeah. So let's start. Let's start with last week's Strange New Worlds.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Among
Hit
the
it.
Lotus Eaters.
Yep. Let's go among the scrotum beaters. It starts with Pike looking for love. The Enterprise is alongside the Cuyahoga, and Captain Bay comes over. She gives him a little gift. Says, this is going to be important later in the episode, so I want you to wear it.
So I want to interject here. So you know how like Futurama, every episode starts with Farnsworth walking in and being like, "Good news, everyone." Is every
Yes.
episode of Strange New Worlds going to start with Pike cooking? Because that was what threw me off last week when you were on the wrong episode, and you're like, so we start the episode off and Pike and Spock are cooking together. I'm like, I don't remember Spock being there, but it did start with Pike cooking, so I'm just going to roll with it for a little while.
He was there for moral support for Pike. By the way, I did read that Pike was on maternity leave the first third of the
Ye-
season.
Right. Yes, I had heard that.
Oh,
Well, you could have told us when we were talking about how Pike's never there.
I heard it like literally like in the last week. So
Oh, okay. Well, that's why Pike is back with a vengeance this week.
mhm.
Um, I'm a little confused about Captain Bay's job. Is she a judge advocate general's office or is she a captain of a starship? She gets to do both. Like, how's that work?
it sounds like both.
Okay.
Originally, I thought it was just a JAG officer, but it definitely came across that she was the commanding officer, or at least an executive officer on the Cuyahoga.
No, she's a captain because she was about to she was up for promotion to Commodore, but
That's true. You're right.
her Jagoff superior said nope.
Yeah.
Old
punished.
Basalty dog was like,
know.
no, you didn't win. So
The king of logic made it personal. Go figure.
yeah,
Hmm.
we got a theme with Vulcans being logical in
In New
this
Trek.
in Strange New Worlds. I mean, this in Star Trek Picard. So anyway, Pike feels bad because everything is Pike's fault, and so he's like, maybe we should break it off. And she's like, your timing just sucks balls. Fuck off. So he leaves, and Una's like, Pike, why do you push everybody away? He's like, because I'm not being the boot box. It's like, God damn it, shut up about that. Anyway, the intercom comes, and they're like, we found something on Rigel. What did they find?
Moon. The moon over it.
Moon over Rigel. Ah.
Row,
Anyway.
row your boat.
Life
That is the best part of Star Trek V, by the way, is the first 20 minutes.
Oh, the
and
camp.
then it,
The Yosemite part's great.
yeah, and then
All
it
the
has
way around.
it's totally blown its wad after that.
I don't know. I still say Star Trek V is a good guilty pleasures movie all the way through. It slows down after that, but some of the stuff with God is pretty good.
Dude, if I had an on-demand marshmallow maker, that'd be pretty awesome. Because all my marshmallows get stuck together because my kids ram their hands down in the bags and they're sticky and everything. It just comes out one clump. If I could just have a marshmallow on demand, I'd be a happy man.
Maybe you should just buy a marshmallow bag and it'd be
And-
yours and put it up high and then have the kids' marshmallow bag down low.
There you go.
Yo, Bob, you have kids, don't you?
Yes. 2 of them.
Do you have, is there anything but communal property when it comes to food in your house?
Yeah, if you hide it well enough.
Oh, that's fair.
You got to hide it from your wife too, though.
I was about to say, I got to hide it from a pregnant wife too.
They will not usually be
therein
accomplices.
lies the challenge. She just flipped me off. Anyway.
I mean, you earned that. You're not wrong, but you earned it.
We got to do 3 recaps tonight.
All right.
Just gonna point
okay,
that
okay,
out.
okay, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a machine. I can go all night, but I'll be putting you 2 fuckers to sleep.
Well, I mean, let me put it. It's Saturday night. It's not Sunday night.
That's
so
right.
I don't care how late we go.
We don't have to pull a Lorca maneuver tonight. We can stay and cuddle as long as we need.
All right. Well, spoon up to me, boys, because we're going for a ride. So on Rigel 7, Groundskeeper Willie has done some interesting artwork because the hedges are in a pretty goddamn impressive Starfleet insignia. Like, it's not just the Delta. It's got like the little rocket
lighting on it and
around
everything.
it. Yeah, like I don't know how he managed to make it say United Federation of Planets, but hey, whatever. But it brings up bad memories for Pike because when he was there, 3 of his officers got killed. And they had to get the hell out of Dodge in a hurry. And he's like, I might have left something behind. And they're like, yeah, well, you don't have to take this mission, but this is your chance to clean up your own goddamn mess. And so Pike's like, all right, we're gonna go do it. So everybody, so then it's
Gonna do
time.
the thing.
Let's go do the thing. And Ortega's, she's already delivered the intro, and now she's like, I'm putting on my hat, and I'm putting on my fur, and I'm going to do the away team mission, because I'm Erica Ortegas, and I do the away missions. And Spock's like, no, you don't. You fly the ship. And she's sad, because she doesn't ever get to do the away missions. Spock's like, did you think this was going to be an Erica Ortegas episode? Because if you did, you're wrong. Go the fuck back to the bridge. It's like, man, where do I get my episode?
You read the wrong script.
Yep.
Like,
He's like,
it's the equivalent of watching the wrong episode.
he's like, I don't know. Be more interesting. So, and Pike's like, I'll fly. He's like, I'll fly. I'm a
I'm a
pilot.
pilot. I can fly.
God.
And they're like, how are we going to fix our fuck up? He's like, I don't know, but we're going to do it without any modern technology. Because
So we're gonna hump it 10 kilometers into this place in Arctic conditions
6
With-
hours.
with a telescope
At least
that
6 hours.
Azim put together. How did your men ever take Jerusalem?
I'm just picturing Kevin Costner try to stab the air in front of him.
That's right.
Oh,
Man,
you think
it's
this
good
is
stuff.
this
Three
is not,
recaps.
Yeah.
this is not Giorgio's telescope though. This is a different one.
No, this
It
is
is
not.
a different one.
Anyway,
Well, what a great Easter egg that would have been.
that was tech. Oh no, it wasn't. Was it a sextant or a telescope? It was a telescope, right?
It was a
It was a
telescope.
it was a telescope.
It was a telescope.
Ah, fuck that show. Anyway, it must have been farther than 10 kilometers because they walked for 6 hours.
I thought they said 10 kilometers.
Maybe they did. I don't know. Anyway, when they land, La'an has a migraine and she opens her eyes and it's like, I'm feeling a little woozy. They're like, you want to go back? It's 6 hours. She's like, 6 hours? Holy shit. And the doctor's like, in my medical opinion, you're fucked up. And Pike's like, well, we all need to be tip-top shape. Should we go back? And Benga's like, nah. Benga's kind of out of sorts because he's like, I love being the doctor taking on the mission because of my combat expertise. It's like, well, Anyway, so but I don't even think they really get a chance to decide to go back because pretty soon somebody's shooting at them with Starfleet phaser rifles, and they're like, "What the fuck, Pike? How much did you leave?" Because there's like, we see like 15 different phaser rifles in this episode.
I didn't think there were that many. I thought there were like 2, but because they kept kind of handing them off. Like if you noticed on like the changing of the guard, one of them walked up and like handed one a rifle.
Maybe. I think there were at least 4 because didn't the King have one too?
My guess would be, I mean, whatever the away team probably was, right? There were probably 4 to 6. I think is a good number. But anyway,
That makes
is-
sense, though. Yeah.
They all left. Every single man left theirs. Well, anyway, they get captured and they get taken to see the King, King Zach. And Pike is like, what? But you were just a crew member and now you're the king. He's like, yeah, I made myself the king. What do you think about that, bitch? It's like Rigel 7 makes you forget. Never forget, Jack. Think of a way to run home. No, I'm sorry.
Yep, you've
That's
gone
different.
off.
I've gone off. He says, it makes you forget. And I'm going to enjoy watching you forget.
Yeah, and they won't even know who you are by tomorrow.
Yep. It happens really quick.
It
They
does.
put him in a cage outside, and pretty soon they don't know each other. And then out comes the work detail, and they're like, but we don't want to get out of our cage. And Gus Chiggins comes over and is like, you've got to get out of your cage. You got to go work. He's like, look, you're wearing the color of the iron workers, so you break rocks. Or not iron workers,
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
breakers.
GGINS.
Chiggins.
And I thought my hearing was bad.
Oh my god! And then he's like,
We're never getting through this.
You're
No, we're
wearing
not.
you're wearing green. That means you cut the trees." And Bing is like, "What fucking trees? We're on a goddamn glacier." He's like, "I don't know. There's one tree over there. You just saw on it all day." And Bing is like, "Actually, there is. There's one tree over there to saw on. I stand corrected." Whatever. And he
You
explains
want
to
it
him.
done right, or do you want it done fast? I mean, the whole castle's made of stone. What do they need a tree for anyway?
I seriously think it's just to give somebody something to do during the day.
That's
So-
right.
It's a sinecure. Yeah.
and whoever wrote
You
this
must,
said,
you must keep the proletariat working, or they will rise up against you.
exactly. And whoever whoever wrote this, I guess had watched Memento the week before because the guy's tattooing himself to remind him who killed his wife and shit. And he's like, "But I've got a totem." And Pike is gone full native at this point. He's like, so they keep our memories locked up inside a casket. I will find the casket and I will bring the memories back to everyone.
You
Ah,
lack of a casket, huh?
and the
I
casket
will
is
get you the
good.
casket.
Meanwhile, back on Enterprise, we're starting to see the same symptoms of the forgetting.
Phenomenon.
Hmm?
The same phenomenon.
Yes, the same phenomenon is going on, and Spock says, "Well, why don't we just fly at the debris field, and I'll make little name tags for everybody, so you know who you are and what you do." Ortega's like, I guess that's
I am the pilot.
a good idea. I don't know what Spock said. I guess I am the science officer. I do the science.
Probably.
Anyway,
I do the fiddle or the harp.
I the liar. Bring me a small liar. Do it. I didn't do it.
Is that Futurama? Because that
That
sounded
is
like hedonism bot.
that is History of the World Part 1, I think.
I could see that too.
Not that kind of liar.
That Dom DeLuise, I think.
Uh is that the Dom DeLuise character is the Godfather in like Renaissance Italy, right?
I thought it was Caesar.
He may have played multiple things. I don't know.
Did someone say pig? Yes, sire. Do you think you meant me? Almost certainly, sire.
Oh dear God.
But continuing.
I feel like we're under the influence of a comet that's very selectively irradiating our brain and making it not work
It's
in a
irradiating
way.
our self-discipline to stay on task.
Oh, I don't remember what happens, but they decide that they're going to go. Well, first of all, they decide to rebel against the guards, and so Pike fights them, and Lon watches for a minute, and then decides she's going to jump in, and even though she probably should remember how to fight, she's a pretty incompetent fighter and gets sliced open. And Binga like runs over to her and he's like, "I must be a healer man." And so he's like, I can almost remember how to do it, but not quite. So Pike's got to save La'an by going and retrieving the memories. So we start heading back. Meanwhile, wakes up and she's like, "I'm scared. Why are there rocks hitting the ship? I don't know what I'm supposed to do." So she goes back to her quarters. Everybody's just wandering around aimlessly like it's somebody left the door open at the retirement home. And she goes and sits in the fetal position. Is like, "Who am I? What do I do?" And the computer's like, "God damn it, I'm
You are
tired
the
of
pilot.
like I'm tired of people asking me stupid questions today. You're Erica Ortegas. You fly the ship." It's like, "Is that all I do?" And the computer's like, "Pretty goddamn much. You're occasionally insolent and insubordinate, but mostly you fly the ship." She says, "I'm Erica Ortegas. I fly the ship. I fly I'm pilot. Just repeats that over and over till she gets to the bridge. And around that point, I think that Pike and them have gotten to the main area,
Throne room.
gotten back to the palace, well, the outskirts of the palace, and they're, fighting the guards. And Bingo gets shot.
Bingo gets shot. Yep.
Mhm.
He's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I'm perfectly fine. The bullet just grazed me." Pike's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
"Good, let's go."
still-
And he says, "Wait, no, I can't put any weight on it." He gets,
Yeah.
I'm like, "But that's
I'm
not what
almost
that
like-
means."
That's
though."
not fine.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I don't.
We're all fine here now. Thank you.
I still don't understand.
His flesh wound.
I just don't understand, like, phasers and things in Star Trek. It's like when it needs to only wound you, it wounds you, and when it needs to execute you with extreme prejudice, it vaporizes. Why not simply just vaporize them? Like, I feel like there's a wide swath of the damage imparted by phaser and disruptor weapons in Star Trek.
I mean, there are explicitly different settings.
Here's my theory on these, Willie. They kept him at the lowest setting
So they had the power.
because they had to conserve the power because King Zach did not know when they would run out, if they would ever see anybody from Starfleet again.
I'll buy that.
Now,
I'll buy that.
to your greater point about how the phaser does as much damage as it needs to, the magic of television.
Yes.
That's all I can say. But anyway, Pike tells Bingo, he's like, apparently you're not fine if you can't put any weight on it. I'm no doctor, and apparently neither are you. So you just stay here. And he goes and he fights his way through and finally gets to the throne room with Zach, and he's beating the shit out of him.
Boy, howdy was he.
And
Yeah, he enjoyed that.
he did until he realized that, wait, I'm Boy Scout. I don't do this.
Yeah, but apparently the radiation, once it gets cut off, it starts to bring you back really fast within minutes.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that seem to happen on this show faster than they should. But anyway,
Look, people have always made fun of me for wearing tinfoil hats. And that's why the radiation will affect your brain very quickly if you take it off. And I don't wear tinfoil hats. I wear baseball caps and I line them with tinfoil because I don't want to look stupid.
Right. You don't want people to think you're crazy.
right?
Right. But those Jewish space laser satellites, they'll get you.
Every time. 5G.
Every time.
They are sending out COVID via 5G unless you wear the Marty McFly hat from Back to the Future Part 2.
Yes. And that is, look, I'm glad Star Trek's finally addressing a real current events issue.
Oh, man.
So Pike tells King Zach that he's like, I cried for you, but you're kind of a dick, and everything you've done since then, that's on you. You made bad choices, buddy. Now you're going to Starfleet jail.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, just come on with me. Like, this is not going to be that big of a deal. You know, you only gave advanced technology to a situation, to a primitive civilization, and propped yourself up as a regent. But come on, let's rock and roll.
Well,
I mean,
Zach
if
was
you
like,
were that deep in there, don't you just go down with the ship?
no, because Zach says, well, I've seen Discovery and Star Trek Picard. I know that jail is the fast track to get to be a commander.
To get promoted, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, that don't sound so bad. So they get everything lined out there. They figure it out. Meanwhile, up on the ship, Ortega says she has conquered her fears, and she's like, "We're gonna fix this, and I'm gonna get this this little asteroid that's caused us a problem out of here." And she throws a goddamn asteroid, just like Riker did last week.
That's what we've been doing. Yeah.
Just like Discovery did with the dark matter at one point. I think. And then, that I guess that might be the rogue asteroid that sneak attacks Adira and Gray's ship in 1,000 years. And the Enterprise then, Pike decides to pull some strings, so the Cuyahoga comes back and Patel comes, and Pike's like, I was wrong. She's like, keep talking. He's like, you gave me this necklace, and even though I shouldn't have taken it down because it's off-world, it led me back, just like you said it would. And Captain Bay kisses him, and she's like, well, let's see how the next 30 minutes go. And then we roll credits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the story of...
Because Pike the Stallion needs 30 minutes.
Well, we said there was time to cuddle.
Over here in this house, let's see how the next 3.5 minutes go, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Oh, and Gus Chiggins gets his memory back.
Yes, he remembers who killed his wife and all that stuff.
I had a son and a wife, and now I'm sad. I was like, don't be sad, Gus Chiggins. He's like, but it's better to know than not know. That was his arc. He went from not wanting to know to thinking it's okay to know. The best part of this whole episode was when Ortegas went M. Bison and did the spinning torpedo maneuver through the asteroid and busted through it.
Yeah, you got to thread the needle.
I'm like, that's not threading the needle, you goddamn dumbass.
Blasting your way through something is not threading a needle.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
She should have said, like, boom goes the dynamite or something. Something else, but...
I'm going to do the Lorca maneuver.
What's that? Plow anything in front of me.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's right.
Oh, well, this was a Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode, which means it's not bad.
It was generally better than most other New Trek.
But this is absolutely one of the weakest, in my opinion.
It's not my favorite. I feel like it could have done I don't know. I don't know if it was... I can't tell you if it was a weak idea or if it was not enough of an idea or if they just kind of took an episode off. I couldn't really tell you.
I thought it was better until we watched Conundrum, and then I was like, this is a bit derivative now. But before I remembered that I'd seen Conundrum, I mean, when I say a bit derivative, I mean, we changed the backdrop, but it was pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
Where you basically forgot all your active memories, but everything that was buried underneath, you still remembered how to do everything. I mean, like even the dialogue around that was very similar.
Very similar.
Now, yeah, I mean, the way that they got there was different and all that, but
they should have had Pike and Benga have hot, steamy gay sex, and then come back to their senses and been like, "Oh,
yeah, oh my god, I can't believe I slept with a black guy."
I bid you adieu, doctor. He's like, does this fall under doctor-patient? No, it does not.
No.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, Pike. When we go back through the pattern buffer, the biologic filters will get everything off of you. And Binga says, "Nope, I've got those disabled." Oh wait, no, I guess he re-enabled them now. But anyway, yeah, I thought the idea was a lot more novel until I watched Conundrum and realized that it'd been done 30 years ago. Although I'll be honest, I'm starting to figure out that I do think Strange New Worlds is recycling a lot of ideas, but they're just trying to do it in a... I mean, you got to figure the audience is probably so old, with the exception of people like us. You know, most of the people aren't going to remember these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if we hadn't gone back and watched Conundrum, I wouldn't have remembered it.
Well, and most of the time they are spinning them differently.
I mean,
They're
look,
spinning them different, but at a fundamental level, a lot of these ideas are coming from old Trek. Maybe not so direct as Balance of Terror, right? But they're all kind of tried and true. But it's still done in a much more refreshing way than, say, Star Wars Episode 7, right?
right. I mean, look, there are an infinite number of stories that can be told, but there are some kind of tried and true core classics to sci-fi. And so, I mean, you're going to find a lot of similar episodes. I mean, TNG and DS9 and Voyager all did their spin on the same kind of thing. I mean, there's a Measure of a Man episode in pretty much every episode, every series of Trek, or something
Right.
close to it. So yeah, this one I agree felt perhaps a little more derivative since we watched them in the same week.
Not
you know.
intentionally.
Well,
You're
I
not going to
watched
let that go.
I watched them in the
No,
same week.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
I watched them in the same week. I mean, it's like the Groundhog Day episode. I mean, that pops up every so often.
hmm
TNG did that one better too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
But I thought it was like I said, when I watched it the first time, I thought it was good. Right? I kind of liked it. I was like, hey, this is a pretty cool episode. Right? It was a fun idea to explore. And then, like I said, I liked it a little less when I watched Conundrum. I was like, oh, there you go. I wish the TNG writers would come up with a new idea. They just did this on Strange New Worlds. But
it's so funny that we mentioned Conundrum last week or the week before without having seen this and without having seen the Picard episode of this week.
Right. Yeah, for totally different reasons we mentioned it.
So moving on, let's finish up with Among the Lotus Eaters and move on to Star Trek Picard season 3 episode 5. Imposters.
Okay.
Or as we like to call it, Joe Bob's favorite trope.
God damn it. I said too much good shit about it. I knew it. I told you last week. I was like, now that I've praised it, they're gonna be like, fuck Joe, it's gonna go off the rails.
And they put a ton of Rafi in there for you.
Oh, god damn. I don't want to say I hate every minute when Rafi's on screen because Worf is also on screen, which tempers it for me. But like, I can't stand Rafi.
Yeah.
We'll get into that, I guess. Let's see. So we pick up this week, where we left off last week.
Right.
Finishing things up, repairs up, so we can go back to Starfleet. You see the bridge officers talking to each other, and then Jack comes in and just straight up murders all of them with extreme prejudice, and then he wakes up. So, yay. Jack's got something going on. And this will be exciting.
He is the key master.
Are you the gatekeeper? Anyway, then we go
the
to
key master. That was a lot more graphic when I watched it as an adult.
Yes, it
so
was.
What that was implying.
You think?
T-Dubs. Did not catch all that the first watch when I was 8 or 9.
Well, I mean, yeah, that happens.
I want you inside me. Sounds like there's at least a couple people in there already. Might be pretty crowded.
That's a fantastic line. I love Bill Murray. Okay, but yeah, Star Trek.
He's good in this. I mean, he's good in that episode.
Yeah.
God
that
damn.
movie.
I am.
Get with the program, Joe Bob.
Jesus Christ. I need
Yes.
Shaw to leave and give me a minute to get my story straight. So Picard, Shaw, Seven, and Riker are in the Titans ready room, and Shaw says they transfer the command codes back over, and Shaw's like, "Well, now that that's done, just so you know, I already called Starfleet." I'm starting to really like Shaw.
Shaw's
Anyway,
coming around. I'm coming around on Shaw.
he leans over to Seven. He's like, "You want to do this uninstated or stated?" Like, stated. He's like, "I dub thee reinstated." Now, in light of us all surviving a horrible, harrowing, life-threatening crisis together, I'm gonna leave you to get your bullshit story straight. Peace out, fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's great. And they just kind of look at each other, and Picard goes and tells Beverly, he's like, "Let me handle it. I'll bear the brunt of it." And then he talks to Jack, and he's like, Jack, you should think about. Jack says, "Should I get a pair of handcuffs? Find a pair of comfortable handcuffs?" And Picard's like, "No, Jack. Starfleet is about reason, and they're very forgiving. Unless you're a goddamn Bajoran sent to infiltrate the Marquis, and then I will hold that shit against you for 30 fucking years, young man." And Jack's like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah. This seems weirdly specific, Picard.
Okay, don't test me, Jack. It's like, all right. Well, I don't think Starfleet's for me, and you go deal with your bullshit. Picard goes off to practice his Bajoran, and we cut over to La Serena with Rafi and Worf fighting, and Rafi's a piece of shit. She just wants to beat the hell out of somebody, and Worf's trying to teach her things, and she doesn't want to listen because
She's Rafi.
Rafi, and she's mad because why haven't we heard from your handler? It's been over 24 hours, and Worf's like, "God damn it, take a fucking chill pill." She's like, "You can't say that to a recovering addict. I used to take chill pills."
So,
like, "My bad. Jesus fucking Christ." He's like,
so I know that you love when we just forget about plot threads in the shows, but did we forget about the fact that she is like back on the wagon and all that stuff again? Was that only for the purpose of the ending of that episode?
yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough.
I think so. You're talking about like, why aren't we dealing with her being like having withdrawals and shit?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
This is no drug withdrawal. He's
I'm sure, and they may circle back around to it, but because it'll rear its head in an extremely inopportune, cinematically inopportune moment.
Only because in about 3 or 4 episodes she's gonna have like the syringe in her hand, and then she's gonna have like a picture of her husband and son in the other, and then while Harold Faltermeyer's anthem is playing, she's just gonna rear back and throw it out into the ocean. You know what? Honestly, I would love it if they do something like that. That would be that's the only way I'm going to give them a pass on Rafi and her drug problem.
Speaking of Rafi, she's bitching because the handler won't contact him. He's like, and now we don't have a lead. It's like, Sneed knew what they stole, but you had to cut his goddamn head off. He's like, which I did to save your life. I'm like, you dumb bitch. Like,
it wasn't even Wednesday.
He's like, wait, I know somebody. He's like, I know Cringe. She's the head of the Vulcan Mafia.
What the fuck? I mean, I need to see more of the deep, seedy underbelly of the Vulcan organized crime syndicates.
I'm sorry, but for some reason, I love that there's a Vulcan Mafia.
I'm not joking. It was like interrogating Mustafa and Austin Powers. He's like, that would be logical.
I'm gonna make him an offer it would be illogical to refuse. He comes up and he's wearing the little Vulcan IDIC logo, but it's in like a Flava Flav sized golden like bullshit around his neck. I was like, what the fuck is this Vulcan Joe toy? Oh, is that Joe? Is that the guy that played Joe Toy in Band of Brothers? That's who it looked like to me.
I guess in their defense, it's not like you had a race in Star Trek who looks an awful lot like Vulcans, who are known for like being in the seedy underbelly of criminal dealings and underhanded behavior, right? Since they didn't have that to rely on, I do understand why they had to take Vulcans.
I appreciate this decision for one reason. It made the interrogation much shorter. Because instead of playing games, he'd just be like, it would be logical to help you. Like, he knew the jig was up, so...
Do I really have to ask you 2 more times? Ah, you have to tell him. No. The second question was, do I really have to ask you 2 more times? Which is a new first question, a new line of questioning, and wouldn't count in the old one. Yeah, he's right.
You did this bit 2 episodes ago.
Did I really?
Yes.
I've really got to start listening to our old shows.
Anyway, so they go to try to find Cringe, and but Rafi, and when Rafi's bitching at him, she's like, I've sacrificed everything, and Worf throws a dagger at her foot. He's like, bitch, you already fucked all that shit up before. You ain't sacrificed shit. Like, it's not like you had a husband and a kid that wanted to talk to you and shit, and you were like, oh, well, I'll leave this behind to go. He's like, no, you fucked that up, and you were looking for something to do. So shut the fuck up and don't tell me I haven't sacrificed. It's just like, okay, ouch. That was true. So they start walking down the streets of District 7 on the Star Wars planet, and Rafi's like, why is it so quiet? And Worf was like, we have destabilized the criminal element. We are the alphas. And of course, Rafi starts acting like a goddamn Rafi. That's right, bitches. Shooting in the air. She's like, we're the alphas now. I'll cut every one of you motherfuckers' heads off. And then she turns to Worf.
Like a bandito doing the Pancho Villa.
I know. Yeah. She's like, we're here to rape your horses and ride away on your women. And Worf's like, God damn, tone it down, Rafaela. And she goes, hey, sometimes work is fun. I'm like, bitch, you were just trying to convince us you'd given up a lot of the shit. But this is a sacrifice for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm starting to not like this Rafi character. Anyway, then Cringe pops out and he's like, you cut my brother's head off. And Worf's like, hey, he's not your brother. He was a Ferengi. It's like, dude, you're a Klingon. You understand blood brothers and all that shit. I'm like, piss off with that. He's like, why is there a Vulcan running a crime syndicate? He's like, you can't have a utopia without crime. And I was like, I don't even know what that means, but
yeah, I've given that actually that's anyway.
I bought it. I took it hook, line, and sinker, and I filed it away to bring up later. I mean, you know what? Why not?
That's next time I hear somebody complain about crime and be like, well, you can't have a utopia without crime. And they're gonna be like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like, ask Glenn.
You can't have a utopia without Morlock stealing you in the middle of the night and eating you. So
that time machine joke.
Yeah, you know it.
That's wow.
I'm
you of all people.
I'm going highbrow now.
Here, fuck you, Hubris, the podcast where we talk about books. We read books, y'all.
My name is Biblia Warden, so I mean that's not necessarily.
No, it's not Cinema Warden, Joe Bob.
Excuse me. Mr. H.G. Willie.
To be fair, though,
H.G. Willie.
there are 2 movies and only 1 book.
Oh, well, I'm going to be disappointed if you were pulling it from the movies.
No, I was pulling it from the book. Now, I was pulling it from the Great Illustrated Classic, which I've learned in adulthood were abridged by like 75%
By a lot.
Oh, I argued.
Yeah.
Great Illustrated Classics. Fuck you. I argued up and down with my second grade teacher that I had read Moby Dick, goddammit, and I would not be talked out of it. And looking back, it was the only time I was wrong that whole year. Anyway,
Yeah, librarians are bullshit anyway. Oh, you say your second grade teacher.
my second grade teacher, I was convinced I had read Moby Dick. All 127 pages of it.
With a picture on every other
With
page.
a picture on every other page. Oh. Mm.
Those were funny. Those are still on Mom and Dad's shelf, by the way. At
God,
their house.
I'm having memory flashbacks. Oh dear God. I'll be right with you.
I mean, I read like all of them, and
in a day.
it took a week.
Oh man, I gotta take a big dump. Where's War and Peace?
Okay. So the Intrepid shows up.
Bet you didn't think the night was going here, did you? To the old whatever those books were called. Wasn't Great What did I call them? Great Illustrated Classics.
They're Great Illustrated Classics, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Masterpiece Theater, where we'll be discussing War and Peace while taking a dump. And Rafi and Wolf. God damn it. You guys don't want me to finish this.
No, I probably don't.
Not this episode.
Anywho,
right, moving forward.
The Titan shows up and Shaw is like, time to face the music boys. And Picard tells Seven, he's like, I need one more favor. And Seven's like, fuck it, shoot. Doesn't matter at this point. So we don't know what the favor is yet, but we get in the turbo lift and Shaw is like, ba 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 da doo doo, yeah. Taking these fuckers to go to jail. And they're like, could you stop doing that? And he's like, sorry, I'm just Chipper. Fuckers going to jail. Doot doot. And Riker says, you know, we have saved the galaxy like more than once. And he's like, oh, that's right. I saw Generations where you dropped the saucer with the old Picard steamer mover like a dump on the planet. And I saw Insurrection where you threw the Prime Directive out the window to bang the hot middle-aged chick. And I saw All Good Things where you created the time paradox of the Devron system. So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing with you guys. And oh, what's next?
So that's when Ro beams over, right?
Oh yeah.
No, shuttle.
The shuttle comes over because she.
That's right. They don't trust the
doors open and they walk down the hall and who steps out but Ro fucking Laren and Picard's not happy, but Riker's like, hey.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm glad I nailed you 30 years ago.
He's like,
and she says likewise.
Mm-hmm. And Picard looks like he's seen a ghost. And it's like, it's like, whatever you say could be used to add to your sentence. Picard's like, what sentence? It's like treason. And they're like, wait a minute. We were looking at like joyriding here. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Stick us up your ass.
I thought we were going to minimum security resort prison here.
No. You're going to federal ass prison. Oh, the secret is on the first day, you beat up the biggest guy?
Someone's ass or become someone's bitch.
Was that Johnny Cochran?
No.
That was just a...
Well, I don't know. I'm
confused. That sounds racist. I'm like, is this just a random black lawyer then?
Look, I will never be able to tell the difference between Johnny Cochran and Jackie Childs from Seinfeld anyway. So I'm not a good resource on this.
I thought you were going to say between Johnny Cochran and any other black lawyer, and I was going to say, well, that is racist. I'm talking about this one like hazy memory from a movie, but okay, you pulled it off. Anyway, so while Rose is taking them to the bridge, we cut back to sick bay where Crusher is doing an autopsy. She gets LaForge to confirm that it is not indeed her body, and LaForge throws up. Oh, what has she been eating? Because it was like that's something about that sound effect backed me up. Anyway, these changelings have grown internal organs that don't go back to jelly unless you really
Blend them.
Really mash on them. Yeah.
Which also happens with real organs, but
Like kinetic sand.
but maybe this explains why they look more like meat sacks when they shapeshift.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Anyway, and she says something like, "It's fascinating. And they can pass a traditional blood test." And so we cut back to Picard and Ro, and Picard is just being a full-on dick. He's like, "How are you back in Starfleet?" It's like, "Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Michael Burnham the Wise?" He's like, "Oh, it's like, actually that tracks."
Speaking of which, I did steal a ship, and maybe I'm going to invoke the old Michael Burnham defense. No, that's only good one time.
Oh, and Jean-Luc, he's like, "You won't treat me fairly. You're out for blood." And she's like, "God damn it." She's like, "I want to question them separately." So she sends Riker with the security guard so that she can get Picard alone and take him into the holodeck, which is still running the
The 10 forward,
10
10
forward.
behind, 10
Yeah.
behind.
10
no,
behind,
this
Jesse.
is just 10 regular.
Oh yeah,
because,
this is 10 present.
And
So the safety button is very conveniently placed just below the shotgun below the bar, I guess.
so she's got a gun phaser pulled on Picard. He pulls a phaser. Ha ha. And then they're like, "Well," she's like, "Do you trust me?" He's like, he curses at her in Bajoran. And he tells her, "You
Because
broke
you're not
my
even wearing
heart."
your bling anymore.
Yep. She's like, "I wish you could see me." That comes later, but anyway, they have a little heart to heart. Picard realizes that maybe he's being a little too much of a dick. She actually lowers her weapon first. And then he lowers his and says, "Well, I suppose the pain has proven that we are who we say we are." Because Beverly had sent him a note saying, "Hey,
But
blood test doesn't work anymore."
Yeah, thank God in the last episode though you didn't make the comment about how you appreciate how Picard is just direct and straight to the point and doesn't get pedantic in this season. Because I felt like most of this episode was Picard being pedantic and condescending and verbose towards Ro.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
But we won't have that problem again.
I like how, yeah, no kidding. I like how Picard was like, "Well, the last time she saw you, she pulled a phaser on you." He's like, "Yeah, but the time before that, she,
I pulled my phaser on her.
yeah, that phaser's the sexy time." Anyway, um, so while they have their little heart to heart, Jack goes to the transporter room, and we get another Jack vision of him killing somebody, and then he leaves.
Because
And
they're beaming everybody onto the Intrepid, right?
right.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Right.
Rose plan is to leave Jean-Luc with just a skeleton crew.
Skillet and crew.
With a skeleton crew, and hope that the ones she randomly picks are all loyal to him. No. Then the security officers come and they're like, "Well, hey, what are we doing? We're supposed to get Jack Crusher." She's like, "No, we're going back." And they're like, "No, we need to get Jack Crusher." And our intelligence officer doesn't say, "Hey, you guys are acting really suspicious. Just why don't y'all go Y'all go ahead of me, and I'll come back later on the shuttle. But they don't. She tells Picard, I wish you could see me, and she hands
I
him
mean,
her ear.
in her defense, it wasn't like she knew that there were imposters and changelings on the Intrepid, right? She had no reason to be suspicious.
I'm a little bit confused as to why she's like, there have been 12 incidents across multiple starships. I'm like, and nobody's paying attention to this? Like, I understand it's getting swept under the rug to some extent, but like, this is starting to be like, these guys are getting caught and exposed a lot. But
Yeah.
I don't know. And Picard's like, we should go to Admiral Janeway, even though she was in the Delta Quadrant my whole career and we don't know each other, but the fans do, so by God, we should go to Admiral Janeway. Like,
I don't know that that's fair, but okay.
I'm just saying, why do Picard and Janeway have? Why is she his go-to?
Because
Jane-
there were a limited number of ranking officers that we've explored in the past.
Bingo. I guess Nechayev is retired.
And Yamato is he's dead by now. He was pretty old when we first saw him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, he was probably younger than Picard. I mean, let's be honest.
That's probably true.
All right. So then I think we cut back to the Star Wars planet where
Yep.
Vulcanbach, where Cringe sees right through the mobile emitter and shoots it, and he's like, it would be illogical for you not to prepare for me. And Rafi's got him targeted, and he's like, now the logical thing to do would be make you two fight each other instead of just killing you. What?
Yeah.
They really missed a chance for Rafi to be like, not me, you idiot, him.
That is coming this season. We'll do something like that. We got changelings. You got to do that bit, right?
That's right. That's right. Do you think that maybe she was an early founder?
Rafi?
No.
That chick, Iman?
The chick. Yeah, I don't remember her name.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think she was just a member of a shape-shifting, or maybe she was a mutant. Anywho, although they do go through evolution pretty fast.
Yes, they do.
Like, it's evolution. I'm like, what?
I chose not to pull at that thread.
All right. She's a doctor. She doesn't know anything about science. Anyway. So Worf is like, I will fight. And he does some code talk to let Rafi know that, like, hey, remember what I've taught you. But I think Rafi is just fighting. Because, Rafi. And so I was like, oh, God, she's going to beat Worf. And she beat Worf and she stabbed him in the side. And Fran just like...
Was Kayless a hippie?
I don't believe...
That was a weird well to go to.
No, it's like, look, it's because you've heard of Kayless.
Okay.
That's why it's Kayless's breathing techniques. Maybe it's originally used to prolong orgasms, and he's just, cycle the feeling from one dick to the next and back.
Oh my God.
He's like, only keep the torpedo in one tube.
No, Kayless had 3. That's why he was the prophecy.
That's why the legend of the Sword of Kayless is really about his 3-pointed back lip.
That's right.
Dear
God damn it. Anyway, Rafi stabs Worf. And he falls down. They're like, check to make sure he's dead. They're like, we think so. He's like, good enough for me.
This seems logical.
Please take him off screen. He's like, I own you now. She's like, nobody owns me. He's like, whoa, I didn't mean it like that. He's like, don't bring race into that. Don't want to make it fucking weird, Rafi. She's like, no, I mean, it's like, no, you can't own me. It's like, oh, but I do, because you got people you care about. Husband, son, granddaughter. She's like, yeah, but what you don't know is I'm a piece of shit. I don't care about any of those. He's like, oh, fuck. You are a piece of shit, Rafi. Damn it. And then Worf like sticks a knife to his throat. He's like, you have no idea. He's like, how did you do it? He's like, the K-less prolonged orgasm technique. It is a long story and I am losing lots of blood.
Yeah. I have been edging for over 10 years.
He's like, push the wrong button and I'll blow a hole in your back and out through your chest.
That's what happened to Praxis. Kalis finally let it go.
Oh, that's why
Oh,
he couldn't tell
God.
Sulu what really happened. He's like, what the hell happened? There has been an incident on Praxis.
Oh my.
Oh my God. And then that wave hit the Excelsior. Turn us into it. Turn us in. It all makes sense now. Oh my God damn. Why can I not get through these recaps? Anyway, he tells him that the Daystrom Institute is guarded by a sophisticated AI, but it has logical flaws. And I got past it, and here's the chip that gets you past it. And this is the spoiler I got. At least I think I got. I saw a screen cap, and I don't know whether to tell you or not. You guys wanted a spoiler? 'Cause
Not
it's
really,
fucking
no.
stupid.
No, don't give it to us.
I
Let
may
us
know. I may know who the AI is. It may be lore. That's just my guess, or it may be something else that's way dumber. But we'll see. Anywho, then I think we go back to the Intrepid, right, for like the final row goodbye. She gives Picard her earring, and she's like, "I'm gonna go blow up myself because otherwise Shaw won't be convinced." Picard's like, "It seems extreme, Ro," and she's like, "Nope, nope. They only hired me for one episode, so I wish you could see me, Jean-Luc." And he's like, "Well, I see you now, Ro." So
And Riker in the back, he's like feverishly beating off, and he's like, "I can see you, Ro."
I see you.
They
He's
didn't take that from my memory.
He's like, you were a little bit hotter 30 years ago, but so was I, so it's all good.
That's right.
Anyway, Willie.
Sorry, did I
This is
get
a
a
very
sidetracked again?
emotional, it's a very fucking emotional scene, and you're trying to make it sexual.
No, because we never do that.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm disappointed, gentlemen.
I am hurt.
Anyway,
Anyway, they go up to the bridge, and while Ro's on the shuttle, the security guards beam off, and I guess they put down a transport inhibitor that only turns on after they leave. And there's a bomb on the bus, and if it goes more than 88 miles an hour, it's going to explode. And Ro's like, well,
you're combining
God, we have gotten
six
so much
things.
intellectual property together right here. This is like a Family Guy joke.
anyway, so she can't hail the Titan, but she can hail the bridge of. I mean, she can't hail the Intrepid, but she can hail the Titan. Whatever. She's like, Jean-Luc, there's a bomb. It's like,
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
she's like, I'm gonna try to shield myself behind these heavy iron pipes.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. She flies straight at the Titans nacelles, and I don't know if it blew up right before she got there or she crashed into it. I couldn't tell. But visually it looked cool. And then the Titan and Shaw's like, what the fuck is going on? And the Intrepid
And then
orders him to surrender. He's
Chekhov's
like,
in the back and says, "She's delisting."
she is still listing. Um,
But it's okay.
I thought the
'cause
same thing.
They pull it back up. And for
And
that, I will blow you out of the stars.
and this time when they warm up their phasers and photon torpedoes, they glow red to make it more menacing. I'm fine with it. It was a cool little addition, I guess. And Shaw's like, I don't understand. It's like, dumbass, they're blaming us for this. We got to run. And Shaw's just like,
Yeah, cheese it.
God damn it. I thought that I was done with you fuckers, but fine. Set a course to get the fuck out of here. Maximum. Let's call it casual warp. Because they just kind of right before the photon torpedoes get there, off they go.
Mm-hmm.
So they are on the lam. And he's like, who's coming after us? And Riker said, everybody. All right. And so,
Everybody. Okay, I'm sorry.
damn it.
And this, which is a very intimidating thing, knowing that in New Trek, all ships can converge on a location simultaneously.
Uh-huh. And then deploy 8 billion little ships.
Yep. All right, you
Absolutely.
Intrepid, you go warp 7.6. You Cuyahoga, you go warp 8.4, and we'll all get there at the same time.
It's like their computer core is a fry daddy, and it has the setting that to make all the food finish at the same time. So anyway, 2 more Intrepid officers beam over though before they go to warp, and they start hunting down Jack, and they find him, and Jack
It's
activates kill
activated.
mode, and he puts holes in their heads. And it's like, holy shit! And he sees more red tentacles, vessels, whatever, and then heads down, and then we get away from the Intrepid, and Jean-Luc and Will are in the observation lamp. Picard's looking at his at the earring, and Riker's like,
It's a
Jean-Luc,
USB stick.
like, nah, this isn't just an earring. He's like, this is a data chip. What is all this? He's like, everything that Ro is working on. And then she gets a call on her earring, and Worf pops up, and it's like, hey, bitches, I'm in this series, this season 2. He's like, Mr. Worf, good to have you here. He's like, but wait, what happened to Ro? Riker's like, I got bad news. He's like, did you fuck her again? He's like, no, but she is thoroughly fucked.
Yeah. Freshly.
Yeah,
You know.
done.
So I thought the intent was that you weren't supposed to know your handler.
Worf gets to know because he's a handler too.
Oh, okay. He was handling the handler.
Yeah. Who handles the handlers? Isn't that an episode of TNG?
Oh no.
No, it's who watches the watchers.
Mm.
It was a joke. And anyway, so Picard and Worf now and
Can't believe
Riker
you
going
argued with a second grade teacher that you'd read Moby Dick. That's amazing.
I did, and I was fucking adamant about it.
Oh
Like,
boy.
and I remember her saying too, well, then it must have been abridged. And I didn't even know what the fuck abridged meant, but I was like, well, I don't think it was. 'Cause I read the whole goddamn thing.
That's
Teachers hated me.
amazing.
Teachers
I
hate
wrote,
this one trick. The Great
you know,
Illustrated Classics.
I'm judging whichever teacher it was that I submitted a book report on one of those for. I'm pretty sure I did Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and wrote a book report on it. But anyway, that's public schooling in America for you.
That's right.
Sorry,
Anyway,
I really hijacked things right there.
yes, you
Go
did.
on.
Yes, you did. And I've only got like one. There's just one scene left, and it's Jack brings all 4 bodies to sickbay, and Liam's like, "God damn, boy, it's a mighty fine shooting." It's like, I know, right? And Bever's like, "Can you give us a minute?" And she's like, "Jack, what's up with you? Did you even know these were changelings?" He's like, "Nah, I just kill people. That's what I do now, mommy." She's like, "Oh, you not sleeping again? I remember when you were a kid, you couldn't sleep." He's like, "I think it's a bigger issue than that." And he's like, "I think something's very, very wrong with me." And then we go to credits. And I'm glad he said that because I didn't want him to keep. I hate it when they keep this shit to themselves. When like people could be working on the problem and it's like something that's very pertinent to the issue at hand, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna act like I'm fine." But he didn't.
Yeah.
Star Trek Picard, season 3, episode 5, Imposters. This is kind of the kickoff of Arc 2 of the second act, I guess. Boy.
So I thought the Daystrom Institute was in Japan.
No, that's the one that's named after
Because I
Okuda.
thought in the
Is it the
first
Okuda
season of
Institute?
I'm
first season of Picard, what's her name was it? Had
Yeah.
Charades was at the Daystrom Institute.
On Okinawa. Oh, maybe I was thinking
Yeah.
Okinawa instead of Okuda.
I'm pretty. I get the impression that the Daystrom Institute is, well, they're talking about Daystrom Station versus the Institute.
So they have multiple campuses.
Basically, yeah, that is the implication. Yes.
You can now go to Daystrom Institute all online. Just go to southernnewhampshireuniversity.com/Daystrom Institute.
Okay, the Daystrom Institute is based in Okinawa, Japan. So it was the Daystrom Institute.
The Daystrom Station must be something else. That must be where like they harbor the really the really egregious things, like the portal gun.
According to Wikipedia, or whatever it's called for Star Trek, Memory Alpha, in 2401, the Daystrom Institute developed experimental quantum tunneling at an off-site station. So I think somebody's wrote that as a cop-out.
I think so
I
too.
think Glenn probably did that addition to Memory Alpha himself.
Yeah, be very careful about what you read about it. I would close that tab.
See if that update was made on August 12th at 9:41 p.m. Central Standard Time.
What did you guys think of this episode?
I mean, it's a little crackerjack. I mean, it's yeah, but I don't know. It's not terrible. I enjoyed it. I mean, not as much as the first four, but it wasn't bad. It definitely goes a little bit more season 2 what the fuck than that we've done so far, but
Mm-hmm. Willie, how you feel about it?
I had a bad feeling when the first act wrapped up pretty strong. That Act 2 was going to get off to a rocky start because all the things that we didn't like had kind of been sidebarred in those first 4 episodes.
Yep.
And
it's like, hey, Changelings and Rafi coming up next.
Yeah. And so somebody predicted that. They're like, I feel like when Rafi comes back, it's not going to be as good. But no, it feels like it's going off the rails. It's bringing in Traitor in our midst, which I know you love, right?
Mm-hmm. And we're going Disco Season 2, where Starfleet Command is compromised. Trust no one.
And then we've got like the Chosen One going, the Chosen One trope going. And we've got the Deus Ex Machina going with the Changelings, right?
Yeah. Okay, I want to give some credit here. Discovery is not the first time that they went to the Starfleet is compromised well. Okay?
No, it's not, but it's as far
DS9 did it.
But as far
TNG
as
did it more than once.
Right, but as far as it being a focus of a short streaming season, that was more the
Okay. All right.
But you're right. I mean, DS9 did it for the better part of a season as well.
Well, it's not about going back to the well. I mean, I think a lot of these new Treks are going back to the well. Some things, I mean,
we've discussed. Yes,
Picard season 3 is nothing but the well.
It's going. It's going back to the Gormagander.
Entirely true.
Going back to that same Gormagander.
But I mean, so obviously Starfleet's compromised. We're gonna have to figure that out.
So the only people you can trust are people that were on Next Generation.
That's right.
Precisely.
We gotta pick up Geordi and Data, and probably not Wesley Crusher. O'Brien. Can we get O'Brien?
Dude, he
He was.
drank himself to death decades before Picard season 3.
He's on Earth. He's inaccessible.
Well, he was on Earth. We don't. I mean, that was 25 years ago. Hey, whatever.
But at any rate, yeah, he was co-opted by DS9. So.
Well, so was Worf. But Worf got to be in the movies, I guess.
Maybe we'll get some Section 31 action.
Oh, good. That would be unique.
You know, this is a season where Deanna could actually do something interesting. Like if she could actually sense a difference between regular people and changelings.
It's almost like that may be what they have in mind.
Oh, you think so?
I mean,
Oh, well, I mean, they've got to get
find a babysitter.
They're going to get the whole band back together. They have to. At this rate, it's no. I would be shocked if there was anything other than a pretty much full reunion.
Think they'll bring Ashley Judd back?
Okay, maybe not quite that full.
Oh.
Disappointing as you may find that.
I mean, I'm not willing to jump. I'm not willing to abandon ship yet, but
I'm not abandoning ship.
They are entering dangerous waters for me. There's still avoiding the icebergs, but like I'm not thrilled about the changelings. I'm not thrilled about the whole Starfleet is compromised. I'm not thrilled about Jack being a sleeper agent. Are you still thinking he's Locutus?
I think that's exactly what we're dealing with.
You think that he's a Locutus baby, and the changelings want him because the Borg can give them. I don't know. Are they already working with the Borg?
I mean, they're everywhere.
Whether they know or not, yes. They may not know that's who they're working with, but
are the Borg the one that taught them how to grow organs?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, everybody focuses on the fact that the Borg are like all techie, but they were focused. They've always been focused on the perfect balance between technology and biology. You know,
It is the
holistic self-improvement.
So you don't think that Jack is you don't think Jack's a changeling? You think he's
no, he is
entering Locutus mode.
Yes,
he's a new species. He's a change Borg. He's a Borg change.
What if the changelings replaced Beverly that night on whatever, and so Picard actually banged the changeling, got her pregnant with his Locutus sperm, and Jack is half changeling, half Borg.
Do you think?
A third changeling, a third Borg, and a third human.
So what I want to know is if Locutus has like Borg spunk. Do you think like if he blows a load, like you see it start like crawling around like on the floor, like
I've never thought about it.
All the little nanobots in there start scurrying about. Damn it! Where are my tissues?
I don't know, Willie. I honestly don't.
Well, it's gonna be if he
don't act all shocked. That's not any more weird than anything.
If he in fact knocks someone up and passed along Borg DNA, it will be canon that his spunk will indeed be able to migrate on its own.
Yeah. You think the sperm have names like I am 7 of 4.6 million?
Chew on that, Klingons.
They're all just telling the egg, you will be assimilated. It looks like a Borg sphere inside her womb.
Oh, man.
That's amazing.
Which is good
Okay.
because if it was a Borg cube, they'd have had to do a C-section.
Yeah, that sounds ouchy. I mean,
Oh man.
But anyway, okay. So
Borg.
I mean,
so
we've
you
already
guys,
seen a Borg vagina with Charades ship, so who knows? Anything's possible. It's
You
new
think it,
Trek.
you think Picard was like rock hard when he saw that?
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
I was.
No doubt.
I hope Gerardi's not coming back, but she might be. We've mentioned her. That was more than I was hoping for. I don't know. I just keep watching. I was watching this episode and I just kept thinking, like, I deserve better than what they're giving me right now and where I think this is going. Like, don't. Anyway, that's enough about that. We got one more episode to recap.
Look, they're not making any new TNG trading cards, okay? We're kind of having to go back through the deck on this one. Don't
That's
expect
true.
anything new, okay?
You think we'll pick up Rogue Danar?
You son of a bitch.
I went there.
How dare you go there?
Oh God, when they mentioned him in Lower Decks, I cracked up. All right. So as I started to do when I was recapping Charades, and I was so rudely interrupted last week,
By the way, I
start
would give anything to be able to find the contract you made me sign for that game.
I have it somewhere.
I mean, it was predatory with a capital P.
Can we
I
get
see.
over
I
it?
seem to be missing some family
Can
lore.
we get the fuck over it at this point?
No, we cannot.
Just for the next hour and a half, can you put that shit on the back burner?
I cannot.
And we divert power to more critical subsystems, Willie, than your childhood issues.
So much of who I became today came from the merciless beatings I used to get from Star Trek the customizable card game.
Well,
Because
then
you legislated me into
you owe me.
into obsolescence. I didn't say they were good things.
Well, either way,
Bye.
you owe me. Anyway, let's talk about Strange New Worlds, God damn it. Season 3, Episode 5, Charades, which I started to recap last week because I watched it a week ahead because I knew it would be better than The Forgetting. So I believe I stated that we're on the way to Vulcan, which means Spock's going to see his bae. And also, Nurse Chapel wants to do a Vulcan fellowship, so she's got an interview. But we're also seeing some of the day in the life of Spock. He's talking about how his meditation techniques have kind of calmed him, let him pluck his banjo a little more, let him learn how to cook with Pike. Yeah, I guess you guys were really confused when I was like, and Pike told him to smell something, but we find out he takes nasal suppressors. Spock tells him, well, you all smell like wet dogs. Pike's like, Pike's like, really? He's like, the white ones anyway. Pike's bad. And he look, him channeling his emotions and controlling them. It's helped him to also deal with some more annoying tendencies that humans have, like not using a coaster. Keeps his blood from boiling. And lets him ride a turbo lift with Chapel without wanting to jump her bones. She says, hey, and he's like, oh, hello. Basically ignores her. And also means that he doesn't laugh a lot when Una tells her and Ortega tell their silly stories when the girls are all being chatty in the lounge.
What about Spock crashing girls' night out? Apparently, frequently.
He's like the gay friend. The Vulcan is like the 24th century version of the gay friend that the girls take on girls' night out because they know he's not going to be hitting on them unless Ponfar erupts, and then they probably want him.
Then he will ravish them.
Yes. It's like they call it Vulcan roulette. Like he's going to keep the predators away 5 nights out of 6, and on that 6, Una bar the door. All right, and Pringle contacts him and is like, "Hey, while you're here, let's do our traditional what you call it?
Engagement dinner.
Engagement dinner." I couldn't think of the name. Engagement. And he's like, "Okay, well, I gotta get focused. It's game time." And when he's headed, they say, "Oh, you're gonna have a passenger when you." I think Spock's job is to study the anomaly on Jerkoff or whatever the moon's called.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And they're like, "You're gonna have a ride along because Chapel wants to study it too, or maybe was Chapel going to an interview? Was she originally going to do it in person? I don't remember. I didn't rewatch this week.
I think that her application for it was based on that civilization.
Well, no, because she'd already submitted it. Well, whatever. They get on the shuttle together, and they
have awkward teenager talk.
Yep, basically. And she's like, "I feel like you're avoiding me." He's like, "Oh,
does it feel that way?
Is that right?" And all of a sudden, the shuttle loses
too
power.
Close to the devil's anus.
Mm-hmm. And we see a bright light, and then it wakes up. We see Spock's eyes. He looks at his hands, and everybody's like leaned over him, like, Spock, first of all, you're okay, buddy.
Yeah.
You're all right." He's like, "What
Can't
happened?"
tell you how happy we are to see you.
He's like, "Well, you had
gotta keep our composure. We just gotta keep our composure."
It's like, "Well, there's a little thing happened. You're okay, but well, they kind of put you back together, and turns out you're human." And he sees himself in the mirror, and the first thing a human does is say, "What the fuck?"
I love it. Loved it.
Oh my god. And so that's the cold open, and it was fantastic, in my opinion. Then Lon and Una, they go to investigate the shuttle, and they find a business card, and they take it to Uhura, and she calls customer service, and she's like, "Hello, I'm Yellow of Kirchhoff. Why have you contacted us?" Pike's like, "I get to do first contact. Who are you?" And she's like, "You called me, dumbass." And he's like, "Oh, well, our guy." She's like, "Well, we put him back together. Are you making a complaint?" He's like, "No." She's like, "He had mixed instructions, so we made him like the other one." It's like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "In transmission." He's like, No, bring it back. Play back the rest of the message." But they can't. They can't get it. And so Binga and Chapel like, "We're gonna get a cure," and it's like, "I am not okay, Captain. I feel angry." Was it angry, powerless, horny, and actually kind of hungry? It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Is that gonna be a problem at your dinner with T'Pring's parents?" And Spock's like, "Oh my fuck, I forgot about that." He's like, "There's no way I can do it. She already hates me, man." He's like, "Oh my god, do I smell human?" And they're like, "What? Just don't worry. We convinced T'Pring to push it off." And Spock's like, "Oh my god." He's like, "All right."
You did me a solid.
Yep. He's like, "Well, all right. Well, I'm just gonna make the best of this human." So we go back through Spock's day. This part's
I love when he loses his shit over Kirk at the coaster.
Yeah, he's looking at it. He's like, "Don't test me, Kirk. I will fucking end you. I swear to God, I will break your little human ass." And Kirk's like, "Oh my God, dude. Okay, I'll clean it up. Holy shit." And then
Yeah, it was good.
He's a girl's
that was
night.
good.
I laughed hard. He's a girls' night, and he's like, "I get it, human from the waist down. Do you get it?" He like hits Una, and she's like, "Ow, that kind of
Yeah.
hurt." And they're like, "You're freaking us out, Spock." And then we go back to him cooking. He's like, "Captain, one moment. What is that fantastic smell?"
Starts scarfing down bacon.
And Pike's like, "Oh, that's the bacon." He's like, "Oh my god, have you tried this shit? It's amazing." It's like, slow down there, buddy. He's like, "I gotta make up for lost time. Why do I suddenly feel nauseous?"
And every morning I wake up and I eat a plate of bacon. Bacon,
lunch?
a whole goddamn plate.
For a mid-morning snack, bacon, Dad. Bacon.
And for lunch, bacon sandwich.
Now, according to them flat belly experts, I should have taken a dirt nap like 30 years ago.
Oh dear.
But they just keep dying.
Yeah,
It just goes to
sometimes I
show
think.
you.
Goes to show you what?
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, you said you eat bacon, you smoke cigarettes, you drink beer, and you outlive all the experts, and it just goes to show you. I thought maybe there would be a moral.
No, there ain't no moral. I just like that story. like that story. That's a damn good movie.
That is maybe the best. That might be the pinnacle of human culture.
Somebody
From
throw that
film.
thing in the time capsule now.
Can you imagine how different Star Trek the Motion Picture would have been if we'd have put that on Voyager? Holy shit. Anyway, so Spock is he's trying to adjust, and he gets Lan. He talks to Lon. He's like, "I don't know, man." He's like, "These emotions, they're so strong." Lon's like, "It's kind of like being a human teenager." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's this crazy cocktail of anger, fear, sexual attraction, and hunger. So much hunger." And Spock's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I just noticed your boobies. Now I have a boner." And Lon's like,
I should leave.
"I should leave. All you just need some learn a little bit of impulse control." He's like, "What does impulse control mean?" It means jerk it until the feeling goes away.
She
She
says,
runs off.
read this book by Kayles.
Oh my god! But Nurse Chapel's not having fun with it. She's very frustrated because her friend is not how she wants him to be. She blames herself.
Has survivor guilt from
Yep.
the fact that both of them survived.
Yep. Well, he survived but was changed. I get it. She said it looks a whole lot. Survivor Guilt looks fun from the outside, but it's not fun from the inside. And Big is like, "What the fuck does that mean? You're a nurse." Like, he's like, "By the way, aren't you forgetting something?" She's like, "Oh shit, my interview." So she's like, does the Ferris Bueller like running through people's backyards to get the interview, and he's like, "You didn't plagiarize enough." She's like, "Yeah, I put it in my own words." He's like, we don't do that on Vulcan."
Mm-mm.
Ah, my bad. I thought that my field work would be relevant. He's like, "Oh, I'll glance at that. Peace out." It's like, "Oh, I don't feel very good about this interview." Spock comes. Spock runs into her. He's like, "How was it?" It's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And he gives the most awkward and cutest hug ever. Like, "Did I read that wrong? I just thought, you know."
He had to give her the ass out hug because he was still rock hard, though.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, he rubbed one out before he put on that little boggin. Anyway, he's like,
Uh,
"Vulcans can be such dicks." I loved, what's his name? Is it Ethan Peck? Is that his name?
Mhm.
He
Yes.
was so good in this. And then that's when Pike contacts Spock. He's like, Spock, can I see you in the transporter room?" And Spock says, "Is it an emergency?" He's like, "Ooh, that depends. Your mom just beamed on board." And he's like, "Oh, yeah."
not my mom. So he shows up looking like Tony Hawk.
He's like, "I gotta hide this boner now." Oh, and Amanda beams on, and she is looking live long and titty popping. And
I knew that would be like just the first thing.
well, that's the first thing that literally jumped out at you. I mean,
That's
she is
that's
about
the
to
first thing that
barf out that
materializes.
thing. They have to beam her into that dress because there's no way she's putting it on regular. Anyway, hey, we get to see Amanda again. Haven't seen her since Disco season 2. She's pretty good. And Pike's physical comedy in this episode is fantastic because they're talking and she's like, he's trying to lie for Spock. He's not very good at it. And then at one point, he just kind of like slides out of frame, and then you see him in the background trying to leave. And right as he comes, like the door slides in front of his face, and he's like, it's very funny. Just like kind of, there's one point when he's with the future in-laws, and he's like bringing the food over, and Spock's like, well, you know what? Maybe a human could do this, and Pike just like does a 180 and goes right back on screen. Oh, it's anyway, it's really good. So Amanda tells him, look, the shit's got to happen because T'Pring's parents already want to call it off. They want to do it here. And she's like, what is going on with you? Take off the hat. He's like, hi, Mom. I'm a human now. It's like, oh, God. So they go to the quarters, and I think Spock is still like snacking on bacon. Like, look, I need to teach you to get in touch with your human side. And he's like, what does that mean? He's like, I'm going to teach you how to lie. It's like, okay, cool. So he starts walking him through it, and they're gonna pull a ruse, a facade. And he's like,
hijinks.
yeah, he's like, I don't even look Vulcan. And they're like, well, we'll just call the makeup guy that does your ears every week. Like, oh,
Yeah,
why not think of that?
that part's easy.
Yep. So they go to the prop department and they bring out his ears. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can wear these. And he has to learn how to pour the tea and hold it when it's scalding hot. He's like, that's fucking hot. She's like, I know, but I've learned to deal with Vulcans. It's like, y'all are all dicks. Like, this is the easy part. She picks it up. And then, let's see, we get there's a scene with the girls' night out trying to teach him how to Spock, how to speak Spock. Please be more robotic and stay more monotone. And notice how I can raise an eyebrow with only move this one muscle in my face. It's like, do I
I
sound
really
like that?
sound like that.
They're like, so much
Yes.
that.
I've got to ask, how tall is Rebecca Romijn, or how short are all these other actresses? Because she towers over them.
She is a tall lady.
I think she's pretty tall.
I mean, she is, like I said, she towers over the other female
She started
actresses.
out as a model, right? Not an actress. And they're usually pretty
Yes.
tall.
Mm-hmm. And she's done a lot of action parts and stuff like that. And
she was
there's
Mystique,
a
right?
reason. Yeah.
She's also genetically augmented because she's
Well,
Illyrian, so that could have made her taller.
That's true.
Anyway, moving on. Spock's got to go through the second part of the ritual, which is the mother-in-law gets to tell you everything she does.
The airing of grievances.
Oh
Where's
my
the
God.
aluminum pole?
Oh, and they're like, well, you know.
I am so glad this is not a human.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh man, it would have been great.
Well, at least they have
look,
a timer on it.
I dealt with 6 years of my in-laws telling me all the things they didn't like about me. I'd have welcomed 15 minutes or however
Yeah.
long it was.
That's true. At least they get it all out of the way. They're like, Spock, for example, they might mention the fact that, you seem to be married to the job and not the woman. And he's like, oh, really? You're going to go there right fucking now? They're like, dude, chill out. Like, we haven't even started the timer. And Amanda's like, we might be in trouble. And then it's like, let's just focus on the next part, which is faking the mind meld. That's the last part. It's like, all right, pretend like you're seeing it. He's like, I can't pretend. He's like, I'm used to seeing it. And they're like, oh, you look constipated, Spock. He's like, I'm trying to see it. They're like, don't Don't try so hard. They're like, we are fucked. So, meanwhile, Chapel has discovered that if she don't fix this shit, like ASAP, it's gonna stay permanent. So she goes to girls' night and is like, "Hey, anybody want to steal a shuttle with me and go crash it?" Like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. And Ortega's like,
But
I'm
it's
a pilot.
Starfleet and new track, so it's
Right.
okay.
Chapel's like, I really need a pilot. Ortega says, I'm a pilot.
I'm pilot.
I
can
fly. Goddamn, we're getting mileage out of that one.
We're
A
gonna
little bit, yeah.
We're gonna hit it all 4 times tonight too.
Anywho,
It's definitely gonna fit in Conundrum.
we shall see. We shall see. Anyway, Spock's in-laws beam aboard. First, the Pringle does. She's like, I am so sick of my mother. I am tired of that bitch. She's like, did you change your hair? You need to talk to me before you do this. It's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, my mother has just been running her goddamn mouth for 6 straight hours. And Spock's like, that's fascinating. She's like, fascinating in the way that some parents eat their offspring. And Spock like snorts. She's like, what is that? It's like, I mean, I'm sorry. I was choking. Like, get your shit together, Spock. And he decides not to tell her what's going on. Then they wait until Pringle's parents come, and it's whatever, T'Pril and T'Prick. I don't remember their name.
I don't think we got T'Prick's name.
T'Pril, I don't remember her dad's name.
Oh, God, he is so fucking Ponfar whipped, it's just sad.
Oh, he is.
So they come, and he's like, everything he says, she corrects him, and then he's like, oh. Captain Pike's like, I made traditional Tev mail. He's like, this is very good. She's like, but it's not really traditional. He's like, oh, I see that now. It can hardly be called traditional. Pike's like, what the fuck? He's like, well, our starships are hotter than Vulcan kitchens. And I was like, no, they're not. I guarantee you they're not. But whatever. Anyway, so we start, I think, do we do the tea ceremony?
Do the tea. We pass the tea.
Pass the tea.
Mhm.
Spring's like, don't do it too quickly. Spock's like, this motherfucker's hot, so shut up.
The flower won't bloom.
Yeah, that's got to be a sexual arousal joke with her mother. But anyway, it makes T'Pril's orchid bloom wide, so he says it is acceptable. Meanwhile, while this is going on, they've decided they've got to actually crash into the vortex, and Ortega's like, all right, you alien assholes. Words of my generation,
I'm back.
yours. And so they get into, they have a talk with Siri, and they're like, I talked to Alexa, so bring her back. And there's no fucking difference between the two, which is pretty funny. And they're like, well, sorry, the complaint window's passed. It's like, but you need to fix him. They're like, well, what are you to him exactly? She's like,
I love it when she's like, turn around to
they're like,
Ortega's.
oh my God, just tell them you like him. She's like, no, I can't. No, it's hard. It's complicated. They're like, God damn it, girl, you are an adult. You are a Starfleet officer. Quit drawing on a fucking inner Tilly here and just nut up and tell them. So she says, I like the part that's there, but I also like the part that was there, and I had a connection to it as well. And you have to put him back. Please, please, please. And I guess, I don't know if we see him agree, but they agree. Meanwhile, the ritual of awareness is going on. Amanda irritates T'Pril by not being harsh enough. He's like, you could speak up a little more. You could be, stand up for yourself, maybe a little bit more, be a little more confident. And Dad's like, I told her that shit all the time. And T'Pril's like, you are being too easy on her. Watch this. And T'Pril just kind of lays into him. And Spock's like, I appreciate your guidance. She's like, oh, I'm just getting warmed up. And she lets him have it. Spock's like, I need to use the bathroom. She's like, a Vulcan should have a stronger bladder. And he goes in and he punches the air and screams into a pillow.
Yeah.
I think he calls Benga and he's like, I hope you got a fucking cure coming because I can't take this shit anymore. And they're like, just hang on, Spock. Stall for time. And meanwhile, the other thing that we learned in the conversation with Siri is that Spock diverted the shields away from himself to save Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet. And anyway, so we have come to the mind meld portion of the evening. And he's like, do something, Captain. He's like, right. Well, since Spock's half human, we're going to do the ancient Earth tradition of charades. They're like, what? He's like, yes, the sacred, the charades. He's like, and T'Pring is like, what is this nonsense? And Dad's like all about it. He's like, tell me about it. He's like, well, I'll give you a word. He's like, is it a sacred word? He's like, yes, it is a sacred. It is a sacred. And then I might do something like, so 2 syllables sounds like. Dad's like, ear. He's like, oh my God, this is
we're gonna lose this game.
Trying to stall for time, so and then but luckily, just in the nick of time, Chapel calls and says, Spock, I have your vitamins. It's like he's like, oh,
part of your healing regimen.
This is routine. And he's like, before I do this, there's something I really gotta tell you, and it's that, and she hypo sprays him in the neck. She doesn't want to hear it from him while he's in this emotional state. He's like, oh. He's very relaxed after he gets a hit of that Vulcan juice. And he goes and he does the mind meld with Mama. And she just shares a regular memory, which is not good enough for T'Pring because she's got to be a bitch about goddamn everything. And T'Pring finally is like, hey, it's not your job to criticize. Just say it's over with. And T'Pring's like, all right, the ritual's done. And it's very impressive, Spock, that you managed to do it with your handicap. Spock's like, how'd you know I was dyslexic? And T'Pring's like, what the fuck are you talking about dyslexic? He's like, oh, you didn't see Discovery Season 2. And she's like, no. And Pike's shaking his head. He's like, I did, and I wish I hadn't. But
He's like, no, but I saw the J.J. Abrams versions, and you have a handicap.
It's your mama. And Spock is like, are you talking about my mama? It's like, yeah. It's like, because there's no way a human could have done this. He's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
He's like, well, this is my favorite part of the Ruse episode. Is when I revealed to you that I was a woman all along, or a man in drag, or whatever the fuck tropey thing it is. And shocks everybody, and tells them that his mama is the strongest, most caring, most compassionate person he's ever met. And he wish he had seen it before today and told her before today. She's like, oh, Spock, thank you. So they pass the dinner. Woohoo! And then we get a scene of T'Pring and Spock in Spock's quarters. He's like, well, now that that's over, he's like, I think it's time for the traditional engagement fuck. And she's like, Spock, you told everybody but me. I'm not certain how to feel about that. And he's like, well, I thought you might, blow it. He's like, I've told you I accept you for who you are. He's like, I'm sorry, I was human. I wasn't thinking clearly. And she's like, maybe we should take some time apart. And he's like, she walks out and he's like, does that mean we're on a break? And meanwhile, Chapel's doing her interview and they're like, yeah, we didn't select you. She's like, that's fine. I just talked to the jerk offs who, by the way, live in the same system as you, and you never fucking went over to that moon and figured it out. But I did, and we did a medical procedure together that's 1,000 years old. He's like, what? Tell me more. She's like, you can read about it in the papers, bitch. You're not ready for me. Chapel out. And she heads over to Spock's quarters, and he's coming out, and he's like, oh, well, what were you doing? He's like, I was about to tell you that I got me a little hall pass here. He's like, oh, really? And he says, yeah, you know, I oh, I forget how he says it, but it's like he's like, I have these feelings, and I just kind of want to explore them, and it's not a good time for me and Prill right now. Pringle. It's like, why not? He's like, because somebody else is giving me the Pringle tingle. It's like, and she kisses him, and he's like, nice. He's like, so what does this mean? She's like, just shut up and fuck me. And the door closes, and they got this look in their face like they are about to fuck all over his quarters. Like every square inch is gonna be pon farred to death. And that's where we end it. And Spock and Nurse Chapel lived happily ever after and got married and had many kids, as we know from Star Trek, the original series.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
So I watched this a week early because I liked it so much. I didn't know I liked it so much, but fate steered me in that direction. What did you guys think of Charades?
Warden?
It grew on me.
It grew on you. Okay.
At first, I was like, "What are they doing?" But the longer I watched it, the more. I mean, yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was funny.
This is the second Spock shenanigans episode.
It is the second Spock shenanigans episode.
It's like they give him more shenanigan episodes because he has to play such a serious character the rest of the time.
Yeah.
When everybody else gets to be, unprofessional and all that stuff, and kind of show that they let him have these episodes.
Well, I mean, it does heighten the humor when the unexpected, that whole angle. I hope they don't go to this well too much more, because it could get a little tired.
I agree with that, but I thought about it, and we've gone silly episodes 3 times now.
We had the T'Pringle,
we had the
Spock
Freaky
reversal.
Friday. Yeah. We had the Elysian Kingdom one, and then this one. So 3 episodes out of 15, about one every 5th episode, 2 a season. I guess that's okay. If we get more than one more this season, then that might be starting to go to the well too often. But I'm with you, Warden. I kind of thought the same thing. Willie, how'd you feel about it?
I had fun with it. I mean, again, I think that Strange New Worlds does a good job of not taking itself too seriously when they do an episode like this. And I thought that it was a good showcase of Ethan Peck's, ability to flip his character on its head. Like we saw that with a lot of the characters in the Elysian Kingdom, right?
Right.
But it was fun to kind of see that. It was fun to see the interactions with Pike, and at one point he was like, "Do I really have to?" They were both like, "Yes, you do." I thought that was good. I thought that unless you give me a TNG episode to watch next week that proves otherwise, I thought it was a pretty unique thing, right? Like they get this injured guy, he's half human, half Vulcan, and they're like, well, he must have meant to look like this other one, so we're gonna stitch him back up that way. I thought it was a pretty interesting premise for the episode. And so I had, other than the whole Uhura and Ortega hijacking the shuttle to go break more laws part. I thought it was fun. I thought it was good, and I thought it was. I would watch it again and again if we always use that as our litmus test. If I'm flipping through and I see this episode on, I would watch it again because it made me laugh.
I loved it. I genuinely laughed out loud multiple times. I'm with Warden on I don't want him to go to this well too often, but I had a good time with it, and I think Spock and Chapel are cute together. I don't know what they're going to do from here because they've got to fuck it up by TOS era, unless they're just going to throw that out the window, which I don't think they'll do. But Spock going off on Sammy Kirk is
You
one
have
of my
no idea
favorite
what kind of
things.
hell I can bring on you. It puts the coffee on the saucer, or else it gets the Vulcan again.
All right.
Oh my God! I did not think, though. I will admit, I never thought the trope of the hatchet mother-in-law could get more horrifying, and then they made the mother-in-law Vulcan,
That's
and
Yeah.
that was something.
Yeah, she was a right bitch, wasn't she?
Oh my God! I mean, yeah, like I kind of want to tell them that, honestly, that she wasn't playing. No, she is not playing a Vulcan. She's just playing a bitch. Because I don't know that even a Vulcan would
yeah.
be.
Do you think that after Spock and Chapel fucked for like 4 hours, they're like laying on the floor and all this like broken glass around them, and she's like, "So you really broke it off with T'Pring?" He's like, "I mean, we kind of left it as we'll take some time apart." She's like, "Spock, what if she gets pissed?" He's like, "What? What's she gonna do? Start fucking my best friend from school and like try to kill me in a ritual ceremony? Come on, that'd be crazy."
Now they just need to now just need to edit Amok Spock and or whatever it's called. Spock Amok.
Yeah.
Thank you. And have someone who can do a good Leonard Nimoy say, "We were on a break."
I
Okay,
was
so
just thinking that there's a Ross
sorry, it
and
took me a while.
Rachel scene between those two coming up. Because like the shuttle hadn't even left the ship yet, and Spock was already dipping his Vulcan wick.
I
mean, wouldn't you have?
that was a very Ross move.
Oh, you're goddamn right, I would have. Fucking Jenna Bush or whatever her name is. She's smoking hot. It's not Jenna Bush, right?
Yes, Bush.
Jess. Jenna Bush, is that a
That
former
was George
first
Bush
daughter?
Johnson. That was W's
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
Mm. Spock banged Bush's daughter. And that's now canon, everybody. Oh, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 5, Charades. That was fun.
It was fun.
All right. So on to the forgetting episode of TNG. We've had one forgetting episode, yes, but what about second forgetting episode?
Nice.
I
Season.
don't think he knows about Conundrum, Pippin.
Oh. Anyway, Conundrum. The Star Trek TNG Season 5 episode where that shares a lot of similarities, let's just say, with the Strange New Worlds episode from last week. Also, because Rolaren is involved, and there's some character moments between her and Riker. And that's why I picked this. Was I'd actually talked about it a couple weeks ago, before I knew we had a Forgetting episode, and before I knew we were bringing Ro back. And then once I saw both of those last week, I was like, all right, we're doing Conundrum. Warden, I know you'd seen this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how recently. How well did you remember it, and what'd you think of Conundrum?
Once the episode started, I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Because it's not been. I mean, it's not been recent with any of them, but yeah, no, it's. But yeah, I remember it very clearly. Yeah, I think it holds up. It does They did a good job with it. I enjoyed. I mean, the overall mystery is fun. Though, I mean, they don't exactly bury the lead, because it's like, they all forget who they are, and then all of a sudden there's this guy none of us have ever seen before there.
Right.
It's amusing. I forgot how funny it was, the whole Worf assuming he was in charge thing. That was
Yeah.
We should not jump to assumptions. I am decorated as well.
Look at my accoutrements.
And then how he's like, they're like, all right, should we get life support? He's like, no, we must be battle ready.
Yeah.
About replicators, like, no, I want phasers and photon torpedoes. He's just shooting phasers out into the void.
But also how that Picard also fell into like a subservient role with him too, Like he was just kind of being like the helmsman and the little lackey there.
But
Well,
he was still like, well, let's think about this. Let's use our brains, not just our ridges, Mr. Worf.
Well, I think I kind of read that really more as just like taking a let's figure this out and not worry about who's in charge kind of mode thing, more than a.
But I think Picard was still a leader, and he was still kind of steering it in the direction it needed to go. Oh,
Yeah.
Willie, how well did you remember this, and what did you think?
I did not remember this one very well. So it was I mean, so much so that it was pretty obvious what was going on, but I didn't know for a fact that I remembered how everything ended. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, it made me appreciate Among the Lotus Eaters a little bit less, because I realized that it was a little bit derivative of this episode, which honestly this episode may have been derivative of something else too. But I thought it was funny how, like, I mean, I was even watching the episode like, who the fuck is this clown on the bridge all the time? Like, I don't remember anything about this guy. Um, and but no, I thought it was good. It was the whole Riker Row dynamic was funny. And then at the end, okay, so I do have a question. Riker and Troy were never romantically involved during the TNG show, right? It was just kind of alluded to.
Right. They had been together, and he had broken it off prior to TNG. But there were always like hints that they might.
Yeah.
There was a very, very slight will they, won't they vibe to it.
Right. So, like, at the end, when he sees Ro and Troy sitting there, and he's like, "Oh boy," and Troy's like, "It's okay, when you have memory lapses like this, people tend to act on different impulses." He's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "If you still don't know it, tomorrow my office is open."
Yeah. He walked up, and he had this look like it's two ex-girlfriends that are now comparing notes about you.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
It was so hilariously uncomfortable. Like,
I-
and Frakes played it so well.
Yeah,
Right?
Mhm.
and I also loved when somebody was on the bridge like, "Wait a minute, this guy, he's the bartender," and Data's
Yeah.
just down there like, "I am the bartender."
Yeah. Look, you gotta give a wide berth to the setup that this race that can't invent a photon torpedo has invented this beam that pierces the Enterprise D's shields, wipes
Well,
their
but it
computer
didn't.
very
So they
specifically, wipes memories very specifically, works across every species, including the artificial ones. But then beyond that, they do try to like explain things like, well, part of our mission is we have to maintain radio silence, so we can't check in. I I actually think it was less sloppy than Lotus Eaters.
yeah, like I said, I after watching it, I appreciated Lotus Eaters less because I do think it was well done. Because to your point, though, right out of the gate, Picard's like, "You know what? Don't raise shields." He's like, let's get off on the right foot."
Mhm.
So that they
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
that's right. Yeah, that's
explained that away, right? And then yeah, he'd gone through and like select deleted the right files. Obviously, like the radio silence thing, putting in like the other the whole history of the war and the other ships and all that was a
destroying his
plant.
ship right as he got on, so there'd be debris out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was a well-written episode. I enjoyed it. I also like the scene where Riker's trying to figure out something about him, and he's got like 4 things. He's got a book of poetry, his trombone, his academy uh, diploma, and
Mhm.
a Horhan from Rise of the Sex
Yeah,
fertility symbol.
Riker sex planet.
I'm like, well, yeah, that's pretty much Riker. And he's
Yeah.
and Deanna comes in. He's like, I think I know why you looking at me like that. And he opens his book. It's like, to my Mzadi, love Deanna. He's like, yeah. And then Ro comes in. Is like, am I interrupting something? Riker like throws the book in the corner. He's like, nope. What's up?
Yep.
Come back on in, babe. It was a little spicy for primetime Star Trek in the '90s. It's like,
I
I,
mean, yeah.
I don't know. It's like, well, why don't we just sleep here? It's like, what makes you think we gonna get any sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Like, dang. Uh, bow chicka chicka wow wow.
Wow, chicka wow, chicka wow, wetcha wow. That'd have been great if they'd have made a porn style TNG theme. That
Bow
would
chicka wow wow wow. Oh,
the
I like
clit,
this
the
episode.
final frontier.
Oh my god. Probably exists. Anyway, I enjoyed this episode. It shows why Riker has a bit of a soft spot and a hard penis for Ro. Um,
Until Picard, and then he has a bit of a soft penis and a hard spot.
what?
It was an old man penis joke.
Oh, okay. I got that. I didn't get the hard spot. Is that like
Well,
the
I
prostate swelling or something? I don't know.
yes, it was just
Uh,
any number of medical issue.
I got you. I got you.
It's late, and I told you I've been drinking.
Ma'am, have you been drinking?
What that Warden's not gonna get that one.
Nope, 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 nope. That'll be an off-air story.
Yep, yep.
Anyway, yeah. So I was going to pose this question to the two of you, but I feel like I've definitely already gotten Willie's answer. Rather than saying what was your favorite episode, I was going to first ask you, what's your favorite forgetting episode? Um, Mine is Conundrum. I feel pretty certain Willie's is Conundrum. Warden,
Oh, it's Conundrum.
okay, that was
Very
not
clearly.
thought-provoking a question as I thought it might be. Um,
No, yeah, no. I mean, I didn't hate Strange New Worlds at all. I just, yeah, no. I still.
Well, of course, you take a lot of these episodes with a grain of salt, but it 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 was like that book where somebody went back in time and gave Robert E. Lee AK-47s. Like,
Very Turtle Love, yeah.
Guns of the
okay,
South.
there you
Mhm.
go. Having like 3 or 4 phaser rifles, I just don't feel like would have propped you up as like I mean, I guess it could have, right? But
I mean,
I
these
remember,
people are basically like Stone Age, aren't they? So,
I felt like the leap from him leaving him wounded and dying on the planet to that was
Well,
a bit, you know.
what's the old saying in the land of the blind man, the man with 4 Type 1 phaser rifles is king.
That's true.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I felt like that one was a little more loosey goosey. It was not as tight a script as Conundrum tried to be. Not terrible. I mean, for me, it's towards the bottom of Strange New Worlds episodes, but that is not, you know, that's not a
that's not an
deep
entirely
insult.
dishonorable place to be.
Right. I
No,
still put it,
and
I
I'll
still put
still
it at the very top of Discovery episodes. I mean,
and I and I'll still give it a nod that even on their off week, you know, saying that there's an ore on the planet that's naturally like protective against this radiation, and they built the palace out of it. They had it in their helmets. Like, I mean, that was still scientifically sound. I
yeah.
mean,
It,
it's like using a lead shield to protect against radiation, right? Like, I
mhm.
mean, it totally works. So I did at least appreciate that I didn't, even though you give it a wide berth, you don't have to
Mhm.
give it. You don't just have to totally turn a blind eye to everything.
You don't have to turn your brain completely off.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've said this before about Strange New Worlds. I mean, it is a solid show. It does not miss. It's like sex. Even when it's bad, it gives you a chance to think about Anson Mount's hair for a little while and have a good time. We'll start calling Pike the mailman because he delivers every week. Come rain or shine or forgetting induced meteoroids or meteoroids induced forgetting. Uh yeah, I mean, I'm still very high on Strange New Worlds. And I mean, it bounced right back because Charades was a ton of fun. So I'll just go ahead and say Charades was my favorite out of these 4. I don't know if you guys want to disagree.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
I agree.
Not to be like cutting down on the controversy, but yeah, it's very clear. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Charades, Conundrum. The other two were kind of tied
Yeah.
for various reasons. I'm okay with both of them.
Well, it's hard
You
for me.
guys are probably a little bit more explicitly Picard's 4th, but
Well, it's hard for me to compare the two because now we're getting into this is part 1 of probably, a 3 to 4 episode act.
mhm.
It's all set up. It's not a self-contained narrative
Well,
uh,
that's true.
like Lotus Eaters. So, also, I have no idea why that was the title. Is that a reference to something? Because I didn't look it up.
It's Greek mythology. It's
Did the lotus plant make you
the
forget?
the Odyssey. The crew of the whatever Odysseus's ship end up on this island with these people called the Lotus Eaters, and they like lose I don't know how many decades because they forget who they are and blah 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 blah. So
Thank you.
mhm.
They cut that part out of the Great Illustrated Classics version.
Our
um
cinema warden comes through again.
Mm-hmm.
I am recalling shit like crazy. You should have heard me rattling off
I did. I fluffed the
Now
hell out of him before this episode started with some Horatio Nelson.
All right. Well, I guess that's what we need every week. All right. Well, we'll be back next week with the 6th.
I mean, other than his superbly condescending way of correcting when I mispronounce Trafalgar.
How'd you pronounce it? Trafalgar?
That's exactly how I pronounce it. He's like, oh, well, if you mean Trafalgar, then this is what happened. I was like, thanks to prick.
Oh, you ignorant wretch! Your Latin's worse than your Spanish.
You are an educated man. Now I really hate him.
You saying something about a sick horse? I don't know. Your man's crazy. It's a pale horse, you ignorant wretch. Anyway. All right. That was Star Trek Picard, Season 3, Episode 5, Season 2, Episode 5 of Strange New Worlds, and Conundrum.
And Season 4 episode. Or Season 2, Episode 4, yeah.
I've already forgotten it.
Just put your helmet on.
I'm wearing my tinfoil.
Always.
The only problem with it is it radiates my brain waves back in and makes some of my hair fall out. Anyway, guys, I enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with another episode of sheer fucking hubris. Mr. Warden.
Yes.
Let's fly.
This would be Biblio Warden, Joe Bob, and Mr. Willie signing off.
What the fuck?